Story 1. Andrei Chikatilo, the predator of the Soviet winter. Soviet 1978. In the final years of the Soviet Union, when winter covered everything in cold, gray silence, the people of Rostov lived in fear without daring to speak it aloud. Women, teenagers, and children vanished near forests, train stations, and snow-covered railway paths. When spring arrived and the snow melted, police uncovered horrors hidden beneath the ice. The brutality suggested a monster, and yet the monster was a quiet school teacher with gentle eyes and a soft voice. Andrei Chikatilo grew up in starvation and war, a childhood shaped by fear, hunger, and stories of disappearances. He became a shy, awkward teacher, mocked more than feared. But behind that fragile exterior was something broken, something winter only made colder. In 1978, Chikatilo claimed his first victim, a little girl. Her body was found in the woods, half buried in snow. Police assumed the killer must be a strong, violent man. No one suspected the timid teacher, but something inside him had awakened, and it wouldn't go back to sleep. From the late 1970s to 1990, each Soviet winter brought new disappearances. Chikatilo hunted near train stations where strangers were easy to approach and easier to forget. He lured victims with simple lines. "Let me help you. This way is shorter. You shouldn't walk alone in the cold." Deep in the woods, the frost smothered every sound. He later said, "Winter helped me. The wind erased everything. Snow buried the bodies and melted only when it was too late." The Soviet Union was struggling. Investigations were underfunded, mistakes were covered up, and authorities refused to admit a serial killer existed. Innocent men were arrested. Files were altered. The truth was buried like the victims. Meanwhile, Chikatilo continued teaching, living quietly, walking past the same train stations each night in search of new victims. For more than 12 years, he killed over 50 people. He didn't kill out of rage. He killed because he enjoyed the feeling of power over life and death. In 1990, the body of a child was found near the tracks. This time, investigators refused to look away. They noticed a thin man wandering the area, watching children with unsettling intensity. It was Chikatilo. At the station, he broke, crying, laughing, confessing everything. "Winter made me feel empty. I stopped feeling human." His trial shocked the entire Soviet Union. He was executed in 1994. Andrei Chikatilo was not just a serial killer. He was the result of a broken time, a damaged society, and a darkness no one dared confront. But he is also proof of something terrifying. When evil hides behind an ordinary face, it becomes almost impossible to see. Chikatilo didn't hide in shadows. He hid in plain sight. A predator dressed as a teacher. Story 2. Bruce Pardo, the murdering Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve in Covina, California. A night of laughter, warm lights, and families opening gifts together. But on December 24th, 2008, a man dressed as Santa Claus walked up to the Ortega family home. From a distance, he looked joyful. Red suit, white beard, gift bag. No one knew that behind the costume was a man consumed by rage. His name was Bruce Pardo, and he did not come to bring presents. He came to destroy everything. Pardo once lived a successful life, a good job, a stable income, and a family. But after a bitter divorce, he lost his home, his money, and his sense of purpose. Friends noticed he became silent, withdrawn, and strangely fixated on revenge. Inside his mind, a plan was forming. Pardo ordered a custom-made Santa suit, authentic, cheerful, perfectly tailored. But inside his gift bag were a semi-automatic gun, hundreds of rounds, a handmade gasoline-based flamethrower. He drove to the Ortega home, where his ex-wife and her entire family were celebrating. He wasn't coming to celebrate. He was coming to end a chapter. At 11:30 p.m., Pardo knocked. A young girl opened the door, excited to see Santa. He pulled out the gun and fired without hesitation. Screams drowned out the Christmas music. Adults ran. Children hid under tables. It was chaos inside the warmth of a holiday home. But the worst was yet to come. Pardo lifted the flamethrower and sprayed gasoline across the living room. The house ignited instantly. Flames engulfed everything: decorations, gifts, memories, and 9 members of the Ortega family. By the time firefighters arrived, there was nothing left to save. 9 lives lost. One of the deadliest family massacres in California history. Pardo drove away, injured by his own device, and died by suicide hours later. Christmas Eve ended as one of the darkest nights Covina had ever known. Bruce Pardo shattered a symbol of joy. He turned Santa Claus, a figure of innocence, into the face of a nightmare. His crime remains a haunting reminder. What pushes a man beyond the edge, even on the most hopeful night of the year? Story 3. Alexander Spesivtsev, the Siberian Ice Nightmare. In 1992 Siberia, the cold didn't just kill with frost, it killed with silence. Along the Ob River, bodies kept appearing, as if someone was tossing human lives into an endless freezer. The nightmare led investigators to a dark apartment, where a thin, hollow-eyed man lived alone. His name was Alexander Spesivtsev, and what he did inside that apartment made Siberia colder than winter itself. Spesivtsev grew up during the collapse of the Soviet Union. A fractured family, a lonely childhood, and a mother whose unhealthy attachment shaped his entire world. He grew into isolation, reading disturbing books, watching violent materials, slipping further away from reality. Mental illness followed. But Siberia had no doctors, no resources, no way to help him. A monster was forming, slowly, quietly. Bodies began appearing along the river, mostly vulnerable people, street children, runaways, homeless women. Few clues, no witnesses, just fear growing like frost on broken windows. All the while, the apartment of Spesivtsev on the 3rd floor hid the truth behind a closed door. He lured victims by pretending to care. "Come inside. It's cold. I have food. Just rest for a while." Once inside, the door closed, and everything changed. His diary documented the encounters, describing victims as if they were experiments. There was no anger, no hatred, just emptiness. Many survivors and witnesses said the same thing. His mother was there, and she didn't stop him. She walked around the apartment while victims begged for help, silent, calm, accepting. Her love wasn't protective, it was enabling. A chilling partnership formed out of loneliness and madness. One girl escaped. She ran screaming into the hallway. Neighbors broke down the door. Inside they found darkness, an unbearable smell, remains scattered across the floor, hot metal pots, the diary lying open. Police stormed in. Spesivtsev was caught and ranted incoherently. He told investigators, "Siberia is long. Winter is longer. People disappear all the time." He was declared mentally unfit and confined to a psychiatric facility indefinitely, where he remains today. Alexander Spesivtsev represents a terrifying truth. When a place is cold enough to freeze the soul, the darkness inside a man can grow without anyone seeing it. He didn't kill out of rage. He killed because the void inside him had grown larger than his humanity. A predator shaped by winter and sheltered by silence. 3 stories. 3 predators hiding in winter's silence, each carrying a different kind of darkness. They remind us of one chilling truth. In the coldest days of the year, humans can be colder than the weather itself. So inside you, is that darkness asleep or waiting for winter to awaken it? Tell me in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Dark File, where the darkest case files are finally brought to light.